This is Sid Roth saying, I have a vision. Now is the set time to blow the trumpet in Zion.
Blow a trumpet in Zion, sounded on the mountains. Blow a trumpet in Zion, for the day of the Lord is come. Blow a trumpet in Zion, sounded on the mountains.
Shalom, Mishpocha. Shalom, family. Mishpocha is a Hebrew word, and that's what it means. Family. And we're the Mishpocha, the family with a Jewish heart, made up of Jewish and non-Jewish people that are brand new creations in the Messiah. Getting ready, Mishpocha, to blow the grandest shofar, all the grandest trumpet in Zion. We want everyone, everywhere to hear the good news. And I have on the telephone a friend of mine who is a researcher, actually, for Hal Lindsey and many others. But he has a book that I believe is going to amaze almost any Christian and non-Christian on the face of this earth when they read this. I can't believe the information that he is available in this. The title of the book is The End of History, Messiah Conspiracy. Now, Philip, you spent almost 8 years in Israel living there. I know every time I would go on a tour, I would see you there gathering this information. Why did you write this book, Philip Moore?
Well, I love the Jewish people, and I have always wanted them to realize the truths that I found in their Bible, and of course the New Testament also. And without the Jewish people, we wouldn't have a Messiah. We wouldn't have Messiah Yeshua. And
no, but what I'm trying to find out, Philip, is something very supernatural about this book. A lot of people love the Jewish people, but don't have the ability or the access. Did you find that this information was just coming to you? I'm curious. I haven't asked you this before. Was just supernaturally coming to you? I mean, this is a big book. It's 1,200 pages.
It took 12 years, and it did. I felt the Lord brought stuff to me that I felt that's one of His that He actually He gives all of us talents, and I'm able to find things that people have told me that the average person just can't find, and I don't know. It just came to me. I mean, I would be in a library and I'd start looking in a book, and it would just pop out of the page, and I really felt the Lord was giving it to me. I don't want to take credit for myself.
I understand. Like, for instance, I'll just throw one little fact out that was kind of overwhelming to me. Everyone has heard of one of the most famous scientists of all of history, Isaac Newton, but most people have not heard that, number one, he's a strong Christian, or was a strong Christian, and number two, he predicted things based on his study and the mind that God gave him of what would happen in the future. For instance, according to your book, he predicted that in the 20th century, the Jewish people would return to Jerusalem. And when did he live, by the way?
He was born in 1642 on December 25th, and he lived until 1727, into his 70s.
So, but he, by studying the scriptures, one of the greatest scientists in all of history, was able to predict that, he stated, in the 20th century, the Jewish people would return to Jerusalem. But the thing that intrigues me is he also prophesied when the Messiah would come. What did he say?
He believed the 21st century.
So that means sometime after the year 2000, he was right on the Jewish people returning to Jerusalem. So I believe he's right on his second prediction. What do you think?
I believe so, too. I mean, with all of the weaponry we have at our disposal and the technology and the computer chips and the one world monetary system that's being planned, I don't think we could go another 100 years, maybe not even 50.
Well, talking about something providential, someone gave me a newspaper from Atlanta. It's dated June 29th. The headline is, Can Jews Be Christians? And when I started reading your book, this quote just shouted at me. This says the traditional Jewish position on the Messiah. And this is, let me read this quote from the newspaper. Jews believe that a Messiah will come as a male descendant of King David, will rule as King of Israel during a time of worldwide peace, that all Jewish people will be gathered to Israel, and that the temple in Jerusalem, twice destroyed, will be rebuilt, he said. Now, this is the traditional Jewish belief. And here's the thing that staggered me, that it says that there will be a time of peace, Jews will be regathered to Israel, and the temple will be rebuilt, and the Messiah will be in the temple. But I don't see anything about an Antichrist here. I don't see any warning about an Antichrist here. Your book explains why. Tell our Mishpocha.
Yeah, in chapter 23, it's called Armelius equals Antichrist. It's about a 60-page chapter. There's a Sadia Gaon, a rabbi that lived over 900 years ago, a great, famous, well-known Jewish sage in Orthodox circles, wrote of this Armelius that would come and wreak havoc on Jerusalem in the end days. And these teachings, you can look up Armelius in the different Jewish encyclopedias, and he's mentioned there. He's kind of referred to as a part of Jewish folklore. But it's identical to what's written in the New Testament, 2 Thessalonians.
But I'm a Jew. Why didn't I ever hear that? Why did this Jewish man in the Atlantic Journal not hear of it? Why is there something intentional that we don't hear about Antichrist as Jews?
I believe, and I think I set forth a very firm case for it in this book, that there has been a conspiracy to cover up the Messianic prophecies by many of the rabbis that gathered to recreate Judaism at Yavne in the first century, between the years of 80 and 110 in Israel, when they were preparing the Jewry to survive in the diaspora. They were afraid that they would intermingle with Gentiles who had these same beliefs that believed in the Messiah, that believed that Jesus was the Messiah. So a lot of the ancient commentaries that say that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem, that say that he would suffer, as Isaiah 53 points out, these commentaries were pushed aside, and the prophecies were reinterpreted. So when you ask a rabbi today, what about Isaiah 53? He'll say, well, that's about the Jewish people, or that's about the sufferings of Israel. But yet when you show him a Targum or the Talmud, which are ancient Jewish commentaries, and say, look, it said here it was about the Messiah, he often doesn't know what to say, because his idea, his perception is, I don't want the Jewish people to have questions about the Messiah being Jesus, because it could cause assimilation. And these we quote the rabbis need to pass these prophecies off as not really being Messianic prophecies, but being prophecies about the Jewish people, and in this way, hopefully, we'll hold our people together.
But I don't understand. I understand why as the rabbis, to protect their own economic interests, I mean, let's call it for what it is, don't talk about the prophecies of the Messiah and reinterpret them away from what the ancient rabbis interpreted them. They're sort of rewriting history, so to speak. But I don't understand why the rabbis don't talk about their own writings about the Antichrist. What's the reason?
Well, quite frankly, I think a lot of them have actually don't even realize that there was the predictions of an Armelius and an Antichrist, because it takes a lot of digging into ancient documents.
Is it because if you talk about Antichrist, then
people want to know who Christ is? Yeah,
that's probably the reason.
And also, there's a book called The Real Messiah, put out by the Orthodox National Conference of Synagogue Youth, I believe, in New York. The Real Messiah was written in 1976, and it says just almost identically what you told me that article said, that there would be a rebuilding of the temple, and there would be a time of peace, and that the Messiah would be born of natural parents. That's on the opening page of my chapter 23 as a caption, and I point out there that if we don't return to these ancient beliefs and realize that the anti-Messiah is coming, we're going to be fooled. A lot of non-Jews also. And,
well, I don't see how the Jewish people could possibly accept someone ruling the world based in Jerusalem unless they thought he was the Messiah. And we know the anti-Messiah is coming before the return of the Messiah. And there's no talk. I mean, it's talk about a setup. The rabbis have set our people up actually for a slaughter.
It looks that way, and I'm just praying that people will look at these prophecies and look at these predictions and these commentaries and realize, even show the rabbis, even give them copies of this book or similar books, because I believe a lot of them, some of them may really realize that he might be the Messiah and just want to keep Jewish culture together. But there are others that if they saw this material, I'm convinced they would say, somebody along the way has not told me the full truth. I'm going to reconsider and read my prophecies and read my commentaries and just realize that maybe Jesus could really be the Messiah.
Now, you said something a little earlier. You talked about a place called Yavna. Where is that?
It's a coastal town in Israel.
Okay, and you said that a rabbinical conspiracy occurred there. Explain.
Well, there was a rabbi named Gamaliel and Yochanan ben Zakkai, and they gathered there between the years of 80 and 110, and they altered one of the most sacred documents of Judaism in a very dishonest way, but with good intentions as far as they perceived.
Oh, well, what document did they alter?
It's called the Almeida Prayer. It's 18 benedictions that's said in the synagogue every Sabbath.
And why did they alter it?
Well, in chapter 12, there's the alteration occurs in the 12th benediction, and it's called the Birkat HaMinim, which means blessing for the Minim. Minim means groups or sects of Jewish believers, but it wasn't just groups of believers. In reality, they discovered in 1925 in the Geniza, the old Ben Ezra synagogue in Egypt, in the Geniza, where they stored old scrolls, a copy that had Nazarenes right beside the word Minim. It's called the Schechter fragment. And in there they said, may the Minim and Nazarenes have no hope. May they perish in a moment. And the reason they did that is because once people were in, there is a quote in Jerome, 4th century, that he says the Minim are in all the synagogues of the East, and that they try to. It says this prayer actually is one of the 18 prayers. When a Jewish believer would be in the synagogue and all the synagogue were saying the first 11 prayers, he would become silent on the 12th because he would be cursing himself by saying, may the Minim, the Nazarenes, have no hope, may they perish in a moment. When he was silent on that one and continued to go on 13 through 18, the rabbis would take notice. They would notice who were silent. They would probably invite them not to come back to the synagogue. And in this way, they were able to detect them and separate them from the new mainstream Orthodox Judaism they were creating, hoping that there wouldn't be this possible assimilation because so many non-Jews were believing in Yeshua. And if the non-Jews were believing and they didn't follow Jewish holidays, and some Jews started to believe, maybe they thought they wouldn't continue to celebrate holidays in Jewish culture, and that in the end, the whole race of the Jewish people could melt down.
Philip Moore, our time is up. Mishpocha, I want to put this book into your hands. I promise you there are facts here. The majority of the book you've never seen before. Some of the ancient understandings of evolution, the conspiracy there, and then understanding the Hebrew. This is mind-blowing. It's a 1,200-page book. We're making it available for $29 postage paid. If you would like to receive a complimentary copy of our bi-monthly teaching newsletter, cassette catalog, and information about becoming Mishpocha, write to me, Sid Roth, Post Office Box 1918, Brunswick, Georgia, 31521, or call our order-only line, 1-800-548-1918. To place a credit card order, call our order-only line anytime, 1-800-548-1918. For all other calls, the number is 912-220-5234. 912-265-2500. That's 912-265-2500. For a cassette tape of this week's broadcast, send $5 to Sid Roth, Post Office Box 1918, Brunswick, Georgia 315-2.